It's a great day. My name is Shay Brown, the Happy Entrepreneur, and welcome to the Happy Entrepreneur Show, the number one business development and revenue focused late night show in the country where we are on a mission. And our mission really is to empower, our mission is to inspire, and our mission really is to provide you, that's right, you, the hard-working entrepreneur, with all of the resources that are necessary to execute that big vision you have for the people you were called to serve. In this episode, we have the one and only Ber-Henda. She's in the building, and she'll be talking about empathy is the new currency. We'll figure out what that's about. What's going on, Ber-Henda? How you doing?
Oh, Che, I'm so happy to be here. Super excited to speak to your community. So, hello, everyone. My name is Ber-Henda Williams, and that is my jam is to work with empathic, highly sensitive individuals, particularly those who are women, female identified folks, to use those gifts in service to social justice so that they can use their businesses and those skills to transform the world.
I love it. Use those skills to transform the world. And for those folks out there that are watching, we're going to get into her background. We'll talk about how famous she is. I know some of you have already read her bio. Some of you have already Googled her. I get it. But before we get into all that, empathy, it means different things to different people. So we can all be on the same page. What does empathy mean? What does it look like? And why is it so important that we talk about it today?
Oh my goodness, I love that question so much. It is super important that we talk about it today and that we level set about what empathy is. So, the term that I use and with my clients, those are empathic. So, while we are wired as human beings to have empathy, there are certain individuals, about 2% of the population, that are actually wired. So, they're refractor neurons where our brain registers empathy, are a lot more sensitive than the average individual. So you will see these folks as in places and spaces that I like to call as emotional first responders. So these are people that you find in education. These are people that you find in the medical field. These are your social workers. These are your counselors, your therapists, your musicians, your creatives. These are the people that feel deeply and that are able to translate those deep feelings into words or into creativity or in some cases copy. So you might see those in communications that are highly sensitive empathic. Those are so all my copywriters out there, maybe put a hand up or drop an emoji if this resonates with you. Our coaches, our consultants who may have left traditional jobs to pursue entrepreneurship because they want to make a deeper impact. So, again, if that resonates with anyone that's listening, definitely drop a heart emoji or a hand up so that we know that this is tracking, that this is resonating with you, that you care about what I consider the triple bottom line. So, yes, we want to be profitable, but we also want to be in purpose and we also want to think about people.
You talked about being in purpose. How does, and this might be a loaded question, ladies and gentlemen, but she'll be okay, I'm sure. How does someone know if they're in purpose or not? I heard you talk about empathy, which was pretty cool. I liked all the categories, but then you kind of close with, you want to make sure you are in purpose. How does someone know they're in purpose? I mean, what does that look like? What does it even feel like these days?
Ooh, I love that because that is the right context to look at it in. What does it look like and what does it feel like? So, quickly, here's how to know that you're not in alignment. You loathe getting up in the morning. You might have what we call the Monday scaries. You may feel that there's something slightly off. You may even feel guilty about the feeling of not being lit up about the work anymore, not feeling purposed or feeling excited, even if the work is noble. And so maybe we'll talk about this a little bit more, but I used to be an educator. And so being an educator, that's a noble profession. But there was something that didn't feel quite right to me anymore, there was a tug on the inside. And I believe that um, many members in your community will understand this, particularly if you're a speaker. When you get on that stage and you hit the microphone, there's like a light switch that goes on. There's something in your midsection, maybe your gut, that expands. Your heart feels full. You could riff, you can talk, you can speak on your subject area with your eyes closed, and you could do it at nauseum. And then when you're finished, you might feel a sense of fatigue, but it's not like it took everything out of me, but it did pour into me. I feel expansive after this work. If you don't feel that way, chances are you're not in purpose.
That's a perfect segue as you were saying that. Pretty cool stuff. For folks that are meeting you for the very first time, there's someone right now that's in the kitchen cooking. Hey, we appreciate you if you're watching. Thanks a lot, by the way. Multitasking. Someone else has us in their ears right now. Listen to the podcast. And Shay, I didn't read her bio. I like what I'm hearing, but I really don't know her. And even if you're playing us in the background while you're in the office, we appreciate you. Without you, we really don't have a show. So take a moment, if you would, and tell me a little about who are you? You know the question. What's the backstory? And what was that defining moment that led you to doing what you're doing now?
Wow. So I would say the clock stopped in 2018, and there were a succession of funerals and memorial services. And I was still in the classroom. I was teaching 10th grade Spanish. And while me encanta mucho el lenguaje de español, me encanta mis alumnos, mis estudiantes, todo de eso, pero para mí algo falta mucho. There was something big missing. I love my students. I love the language. I love the culture, la cultura. But in going to all of those funerals and memorial services, you start to read a number of obituaries. And the way many of them read, most of them read, everyone passed doing or have done everything they set out to accomplish. Whether that's having children, being in partnership, traveling, they had hobbies, they had interests, they were doing the work or they retired from the work that gave them the most joy. Now, knock on wood, if my number were up, would I be doing the work that lit me up, the work that I felt really called to doing? And the answer at that juncture was no, I was not. So I got a tap from, and so I know some of your audience may be spiritual or religious, and wherever you fall on the spectrum, whether you a saint or an eight or a believer or neither, you know that there's something much bigger than yourself that begins to whisper to you. And during that transitional period, I listened to, I don't know if it was Oprah Super Soul Sunday, but it was definitely Oprah speaking. And she says, life will speak to you. It may start as a whisper, but if you ignore it, that whisper will turn into a brick. I did not want a brick to fall on my head. I've never had a brick fall on my head, but I don't imagine that it feels good. So I said that I had to transition myself and listen to the still small voice and be guided to my next unfoldment, to the next part of my soul's evolution. And so I started doing a lot of life visioning with Dr. Michael Beckwith. So shout out Dr. Michael Beckwith. I, in my mobile university, is what I call my car on my way to work, I would listen to Oprah, Michael Beckwith, Tori Roberts, TD Jakes, Vishen and Lakiani from Mayan Valley. I would even engage with your work on the speaking side of things because that was really something that I had aspired toward. And so I noticed that in order to make a leap or a change, yes, you have to regulate your nervous system, but I think you also have to be in community with people who are doing the thing that you want to be doing. And you also have to have a vision for where you're going. So it's not enough to not like where you are. I think that's part of it, getting that tug, like, no, I don't like it here. Or I feel like I want to aspire towards something else. But I think that getting your consciousness, being fed food for thought or food for guidance is super impactful. So that's how I transitioned out of the classroom. I took a leap. I put my resignation letter on my boss's desk And I didn't know what I was going to do next. But when I got back to my classroom, I got two messages. One was from Rashida Tlaib's people asking me if I would do some performance poetry for her inauguration. And the second was with a literary arts um, school, an after school program. And they asked what I was doing. So that contract gave me some financial cushion to get me into the work that I'm doing now. And even the work that I'm doing now is evolving and growing. I'm entering to a third season of my podcast, Soul of a Lead Her, for She Who Lives and Works from Soul. I've launched a talk show. We're in production now. I'm also working with a nonprofit organization to produce a podcast for their girls. So I believe that voice and choice and agency are super important. I think that speaking from our passion and our lived experience is also impactful. And so this is where I believe that the crux of empathy lies. This is why empathy is so important, because we want to connect with people in many ways. You may not see yourself this way, but Shay, you too are a minister. You are put here on this planet to cultivate community. That is part of what you do. You were born literally with a mic in your hand. I don't care if you were flipping burgers at Burger King or if you were a shoe salesman at Macy's. You would talk, you would connect, you would do exactly what you're doing now in any capacity that you were in. But for some of us, fear, doubt, worry, lack, limitation sort of gets in the way of the thing that we know we're supposed to do. And I love this. And please don't take this the wrong way, folks, but many of us that come from ethnic backgrounds, our families want us to go to college, get a good job, get married, have kids, keep your benefits. And I think that well, not I think, I know that was one of the things that my family had posed to me when I left my secure job. What are you going to do for benefits? Like, benefits only exist inside a traditional job. And even if I had to forego, I was just so miserable in this space that I was ready to go. And I know that if I had attempted to finish out the school year, I would have been ejected out of the system. Like, I knew it, because sometimes uh spirit's gonna have God's way. That's just what it is. That's just the way it's gonna happen. And if you don't take the leap, then you'll be pushed. And I just didn't want to be pushed. I would rather just be obedient to that call. And I believe that those who are engaged with your movement, that are engaged with entrepreneurship, know that they were called to it. You felt it, and I think it's probably shown up in different iterations of your life, the thing that you're doing or the thing that you're aspired to do. You've been complimented on it. You feel a resonance when you do it, and you know that you make an impact because you get that feedback from it.
Wow. And as you were sharing a little bit of your backstory, you leaping out, you doing something you wasn't too sure, but you took steps anyway. And certainly we appreciate you being so authentic. I guess the question I have is, how are you able to move forward in the face of fear or uncertainty? I mean, you certainly seem to be fearful, but you still took action. And that's the question. How does someone still move forward when they're like, oh my gosh, I don't see the clear path, I'm a little uncertain, but you have a way of taking action even when there's a bit of fear, if I can use that word there. How are you able to do that? What kind of holds you together?
Whew, several things hold me together. Here's a practice that I think that anyone in your audience can do. Hold a press conference with your thoughts, especially the fearful thoughts. So, where's doubt? Doubt, okay, let's hear from you. Worry, okay, let's hear from you. Anxiety, limitation, all of it. All y'all, come on in the room. What do you have to say? And so you can almost like imagine yourself standing at the podium, or the way Brene Brown likes to say it, getting in the arena. So think of yourself as a gladiator, or think of yourself as doing a press conference, whatever you like. But hear from all of them, so you can name them And I think what happens is when you name something, it has less power over you. So it's not like a phantom just kind of roaming around your subconscious and in the back of your mind. Call it forward. And you can even sometimes speak to it out loud. I remember when I was applying to South by Southwest, the first year I was invited to be a mentor, and there was all kind of fear and anxiety going through the application. Second year, same thing. Second year, I became a featured presenter. But all through that process, I could hear it. I could hear the voices telling me that I wasn't good enough, that my website wasn't pretty enough, that I didn't have enough experience, whatever the brain does, because actually your brain is trying to keep you safe. But I remember being so frustrated with those voices that I slammed my hands on the computer and just told it to shut up. Just stop talking. I got this. And then to interrupt your thought process, if you see you're spiraling down a particular thought pathway, you can say out loud, what is your next thought? And then it will go quiet. Because those imps, those thoughts, they don't have arms, legs, hands, amount. They don't have anything. And
Mm-hmm.
you can tell it that, like, you have no power here. You don't have a mouth, you don't have arms, you don't have legs. You can't do anything but be chatter in the back of my mind. I'm driving. And if you're going to be in this vehicle, get in the back, or you can put them in the trunk. Whatever you need to do symbolically or in a meditative space, or, visually, put them in the back of the car, put them in the trunk. Or you can just tell them all after you've had the press conferences, the press conference or press conferences. There'll be no more questions. We're done with the Q&A portion of our program. Thank you. Have a nice day. And just like in press conferences, they'll probably just be chatter, 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 chatter. And you'll notice it. You can't unsee it now. Just when people hold press conferences, the press continues to ask questions, and the speaker exits stage left. And you just hit that stage left and go do what you've been called to do. Because where there is a divine call, there is a divine support. So you're not
Mm.
going to be destitute. There's no way. Not when you have such a big calling to be a speaker, to be an entrepreneur, to be a creative, to be a coach, a consultant, or, under the sound of my voice, whatever your mission is. We cannot have a mission without provision. It's just impossible. And so sometimes that's the logic piece that has to speak, because here's the thing, as an entrepreneur, you are always going to be faced with uncertainty, even if it feels certain. You can have a long-term contract. I literally just said that with one of the women in my 12-month program. So I have a 12-month incubator, sister mine, and support circle for entrepreneurs who've been in business for maybe about 5 years or so. And all of them, even with all of the time in entrepreneurship, you still get shaky. You can still submit a proposal and there's scope creep. You can still have, the big ticket offer, but imposter syndrome still sneaks in. Doubt still sneaks in. Or you can find that you're taking this contract because you need the money. So there's all kinds of mental chatter that I think follows us. And I think that it's important to not try to wish it away or sweep it under the rug. Call it forward and call it by name and remind it you have no power here.
I like that. You have no power here. And as you were saying, that is a perfect segue. Thanks. You're very detailed. I love it, by the way. It's a great segue to a segment we have here called Today is My January 1st. Now, for those folks who tune in every night at 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, you know what we're about to do. Yes, we're going to find out a setback that she had, maybe, and how she bounced back for it. But for those folks to wait to say those magical words every night at 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, you can go ahead and say those words now. Today is my January 1st. Doesn't that feel so good, by the way? And for all the new folks who are joining for the very first time and want to know what in the LL Cool J is Shay talking about over there, today is my January 1st is our personal mantra here. It represents a fresh start. It represents a do-over. It means our past, no matter how dark and gloomy that past is, or how bright and sunny that past is back there. You know what? The past no longer equals the future. And so my question for Ber-Henda on the other side is really, twofold. Number one, when you hear those words, today is my January 1st, what goes through your mind? And number two, when was a moment or setback you had, if any, in your life, and how did you bounce back?
Oh my gosh, if any. So, my mentor in my head, Caroline Wanga says, give yourself 5 failures a day, at least 5 failures a day. And I think that helps many of us that are perfectionists to divorce ourselves from perfectionism. And my January, what do I do when I'm faced with one? Um, I look at it as part of the journey, not something separate from. I look at it as it's on the road too. And I, and I'm sure like many of your listeners too, I'm obsessed with the behind the scenes. So, like for example, VH1's Behind the Music or the True Hollywood Story. I love the becoming because if we treat ourselves like heroes and heroines on a journey, we know that in a journey, there is always a trial or tribulation. There is this quest, right? And on the quest, there is maybe an instance of a counterfeit or a derailing or a betrayal or a loss. And so for me, my January 1st happened last year. My mother passed away. So I was a caregiver. My mother was in hospice and she fought a valiant fight with lung cancer. But the year before that, breast cancer. And I am now a caregiver for a father with dementia. How's that?
Wow.
Wow. Wow. So, grief will tell you what you can and cannot carry. So, my business model had to shift. I didn't do my 12-month, my year long program in 2023. I couldn't. The bandwidth wasn't there. So, how will I still bring an income? So, something new emerged. I started unnetworking. I launched my podcast and I created a membership. So while the business in many ways pared pared down a bit, the paring down was actually a wonderful indicator to me of what I value most, which is community. I'm a community person. And when I looked back at my trajectory, even in the classroom, I put my students in families. So you had the Garcia family, the Rodriguez family, the Lopez family, the Ortegas. So they were all set in families. And so I noticed that in business, not that much different. I'm a convener. That's one of my archetypes. I'm a convener. And I enjoy entertaining in my ancestral home. And in many ways, my mother and my grandmother, they also liked to entertain. They were of the people, for the people. And so for me, social justice is also super important. I think that reaching equity, particularly as a Black woman in this country, I think that it is super important to give back. So Sankofa is a huge principle for me to to reach back, to pull forward. So again, in the state of grief, while it is not a sexy place to be, it teaches you a lot. It teaches you the depth and the capacity for your love you truly value. And it invites you, if you allow it, to be loved and supported. And so for many entrepreneurs, we bootstrap, we're lone wolves, we do it all ourselves. It is impossible. No one makes themselves. And so even when you see this self-made millionaire, no, you aren't. It's impossible. You had a
Mm.
team, whether they were paid or unpaid, whether they were friends or family, or someone answered the phone when you called in the middle of the night crying. Someone answered your frantic text messages. You were inside Facebook communities or online communities. You were taking classes and courses. So, no, not alone, not self made. You are a product of love and community.
A product of love. And as you were saying that, as we coming down the home stretch, and God, I just love how you just open up. My condolences to you. I've lost my father. I know your mom was on your side, but thanks for sharing with us. What do you enjoy most about what you're doing these days? A smile comes on your face. I can see the energy you raise up as you continue to talk about your mission, your goals, and your objectives. I'm just curious, what do you enjoy most about what you're doing these days?
Whew. It's bigger than me. This is legacy work. I am involved in legacy work. I am being guided by the Most High. I am being guided by my ancestors. I am in purpose. I'm connecting. I love seeing young girls, in particular, girls of color, step up to the microphone. Even though they're nervous and there's a little bit of trembling there, I still love that they're doing it anyway. And this is a skill that's going to take them far in life because how many adults have fear of public speaking
Yeah.
or being vulnerable on camera? And here you are confronting it in your teenage years. Yay, you. That's setting you apart. You're being called apart. I love that scripture said, "Be ye called apart for his purpose." You are being called apart for a purpose. And so I know that everything that I do, every contract that I take on, every client that I bring into my community helps to fuel that purpose of a femme-centric economy. And so even in my own ecosystem, I have different price points to work with me because I don't believe that talent deserves to be unnoticed and unrecognized. And we're all in different places in our journey. And we, at some point, I don't care who you are, at some point, needed someone to see something in you. You needed someone to be able to hold a vision for you that you couldn't hold for yourself. And so that's what gets me excited and creative and sparked is that I'm creating not just a platform for myself, but for all of the sponsors that are coming with me that have invested into my media company. They are helping to move a mission forward that's greater than the sum of its parts. We have an opportunity here to tell stories, to amplify narratives that we may not see in the traditional news cycle. We get to state our values and stand in them.
Powerful, powerful. You're walking in your purpose. Empathy is a new currency. This is. I wish we can go on. We got to bring you back as we come down the home stretch. Two-part question. Number one, what type of clients are you looking to work with these days? You started down that path, so I want you to finish that. So, what type of clients, if your firm's taking on any, and I don't know if you are or not. And number two, how can folks best connect with you? Like, where should they go? Like, look, I want to stay in this conversation. I want to be here over and beyond today, Shay. What website should I go to? How can I connect with her? Answer those two questions if you would, please.
Oh, absolutely. So, currently, I have an aligned year program, and I do have a few spots to open up with that. So, this is, I would say, probably my one of my robust offerings in that it is one part intuitive readings, sessions. It is seasonal planning. So instead of trying to tackle an entire year with SMART goals, we actually sit down once a quarter, somewhere around the equinox, and plan just the four seasons. But we also look at the four seasons behind us and review what came up for us. What did we love? What did we not love? What do we need to do in terms of our daily schedule? Do we need to start earlier or later? And then what season are we in? So, whatever season it is in the outer world, for example, it's summer in this hemisphere, but you could internally be in a winter or a spring or a fall. And then with that investment, you also get 90 days of sponsorship across all of my platforms. So that's the talk show, the podcast, and my in person event. and I'm excited about that. So networking is traveling. So we do have some interests outside of my state for in-person events. So networking is available to travel, and this is really great for team building. So if you are a nonprofit or for-profit and you have a leadership retreat or board retreat, or have a way in which you want to get to know your employees better for team building and that sort of thing, please reach out to me. I'm available for that in addition to the aligned year. And then, of course, right now, we're getting ready to start our third season of the podcast. So there are sponsorships available. So you can head on over to berhendawilliams.com and you can look at my menu of services. I am on all social media platforms: TikTok, Instagram, LinkedIn, and Facebook under Ber-Henda Williams. I'm the only one in the world. So even if you Google me, I'm the one that's going to show up, and I would love to engage with you. And in terms of especially the sponsorships, that is not gender specific. So we take everyone, whatever your pronouns are. If you believe in the power of community and you do believe in the power of feminine led leadership, and specifically BIPOC feminine and women's leadership.
Well, let me say two things. Number one, thank you so much for being on the Happy Entrepreneur Show. I know you can always make more money, but you can't make more time. So you're giving us the most precious resource you have, which is your time. Thanks a lot. Can't wait to have you back again soon.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for having me. It's my pleasure.
Thank you. And thank you to viewers. Thank you, like you, the viewer. Thank you for tuning in, by the way, because again, without you, we don't have a show. And I never get tired of reminding you every night at 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, no matter what's going on in your life, by the way, whether you're going to that next level of success or you've been hit with the punch that you never saw coming. The one thing I do believe is that today is your January 1st. And because of just that one reason alone, I believe your best is still yet to come. Your best is yet to come. Your best is yet to come. With that being said, my name, it hasn't changed. It's still Che Brown, the Happy Entrepreneur. We out of here, everybody. Peace. We appreciate you, man. I gotta have you back. I mean, you're just incredible. You're amazing, man. What fun we had, ladies and gentlemen. We out
We
of here.
did.
We out. Peace.